We're going to talk about communication, focusing on this event. We're going to talk about messaging, the channels you use to message, but I feel like I'm on the other side of the table asking a lot of these questions, but I want to ask them to you because coming from you, coming from a leader, coming from the CEO, I'm curious if some of the same principles apply depending on which channel you're using and how you're messaging. So in your mind, what are some of the basics of effective communicating?
Know your audience. If you know your audience, you will be a different person depending on who you're talking to, and you'll represent yourself differently. And you need to know them, not just, oh, my audience is my staff. Okay, great. That's the easy answer. The hard answer is let's talk about who that is. Let's talk about them from a demographic and a psychographic point of view, from a messaging perspective. Let's talk about who they are so I can really so I can figure out how I want to talk to them. Once I understand who my audience is, then I need to understand what's my message. And if I understand what my message is, I can then figure out how do I want to deliver it. Because that's the real question. So everyone always goes in and they say, well, I want to give them a State of the Union. Or they want to give them a presentation. Okay, great. How do you want to deliver it? Well, if I know my audience and I know my message and I figure out how to deliver it, because what you're saying is I want to be true to me.
Yes.
And I'm not saying don't ever not be true to you, but you're still a different Butch. I've seen you. You're a different Butch. You're a different Butch on TPN Finance than you are Butch at the local pub at the local auction trying to raise money. You're a different Butch.
You see me at the local pub?
No, but but you're a different Butch. Because you're speaking to a different audience. You're delivering your message in a different way.
Yes.
You're talking. Look at how you think about how you present yourself. How do I sit? Do I sit like this? Do I sit like this?
I'm with my kids. I might be lying on the kitchen floor.
Well, because how's the message going to be delivered? So know your audience, know your message, and then figure out how to deliver it. Here's the way I look at it. I say I can sip wine, I can drink scotch, I can have a beer, and I can do a shot. And oh, by the way, I can not drink if that's what it takes. Mm-hmm. And depending on who my audience is, that's what I'll do.
Some tips, again, from a CEO. What are your tips about how you can be effective using your voice?
Pace. So think about your pace. Switch up your pace. So often people make the mistake, they'll have one pace throughout the entire conversation. They'll talk at the same speed no matter what. You want to mix it up. Sometimes you want to talk faster, and then sometimes you want to slow down. And then sometimes you want to talk faster again, and then sometimes you want to slow down. And sometimes you want it to be in between. So think about your pace. Think about the speed and accentuate using your pace. Also, think about the volume in your pitch. Sometimes you want to talk louder and sometimes you want to talk quieter. And what's interesting about it to me is it's almost the antithesis of what you might think you want. So if you're thinking, I need to talk faster, talk slower. If you're thinking, I need to talk louder, talk softer. If you're excited normally in human world, you would talk louder if you're more excited. I'm excited, I'm going to talk loud. If you're excited, talk slower. What it does is it gets the audience to listen harder and to be more attentive because you've quieted down. You want to think about where to emphasize more and where to emphasize less. People don't hear a lot of the spoken word. They hear the excitement, they feel the energy, they hear a bit of the message, they get the theme of what you're saying, but they don't hear every word you're saying. So they'll pick up on what it is you stress. You want to think about what it is you're stressing.